As we count down the days to the long-awaited final season of Stranger Things, let's break down the observable personality psychology of every character facing the Upside Down. If you have ever wondered what Stranger Things character you'd be, this one is for you. As an INFP, you are 11. INFPs are highly intuitive, and they possess a deep connection to their inner world and emotions, often guided by their own feelings and instincts. Like 11, it is not uncommon for those around you to underestimate your convictions and how tuned in you are to the hidden forces and motives operating around you. You do not conform to others' expectations, just as 11 defies her scientist captors, Hopper and even Mike and her new friends. Like 11, you'd rather be true to yourself than to try to fit in, least of all be held in a government lab for those with psychokinetic abilities. But the selflessness of INFPs for their loved ones or ideals is legend. You will sacrifice anything for what you believe in and for those you care about, much like 11 lays down her life to the Demogorgons to save her friends. Like Mike Wheeler, you are an ENFP, a natural leader who is energetic and enthusiastic. ENFPs are often the center of the group, like the ringleader of the Hellfire Club and the gang of friends taking on the dark forces of the Upside Down. Often active in social movements, ENFPs stand up fiercely for what they believe in without apology. And true to type, Mike's belief in 11 and his friends is rock solid. Like Mike, you are confident in your ability to handle demands that many people find scary or intimidating, even the forces of darkness and a vast worldwide government conspiracy. ENFPs like you are reliable to a fault and primarily motivated by love and loyalty, something clearly on display as Mike prioritizes his friends and 11 again and again. As an ENTP like Dustin, you are energized by working with others and curious to understand people and problems, including occasionally letting your curiosity get the best of you, like, say, adopting a baby Demogorgon named Dart. Like Dustin, who is endlessly tinkering with gadgets at Camp Nowhere, you tend to be a creative and systematic thinker. You bring a dorky and infectious enthusiasm to everything you do. ENTPs trust their instincts, are not bound by convention and are rarely judgmental, however they can be impatient and impractical. You love taking on challenges deemed impossible by others, even when others make fun of you. As an ISTP, you are reserved and independent, and much like Lucas going rogue to investigate Hawkins National Laboratory, you often prefer to work on your own. Others may see ISTPs like you as somewhat aloof, as they can keep themselves to themselves, much as Lucas does when he joins the basketball team and shuns D&D with the Hellfire Club, in hopes of no longer being bullied. ISTPs are true friends, and prefer to show their affection through showing up and acts of practical service rather than flowery speeches. In relationships, ISTPs can be less adept at dealing with their partner's emotions, looking for common-sense solutions that put feelings into their place. This is something that can be seen with Lucas and his on-again, off-again girlfriend Max Mayfield as she deals with the emotional fallout of her possession by Vecna. As an ESTP like Max Mayfield, you are bold, tough, risk-taking, no-nonsense, and energetic by nature. All traits we saw from the jump when Max arrived in Hawkins from California as a skateboarding gamer girl up for any adventure. ESTPs are highly perceptive and are able to improvise, a combination of traits that produces people who are excellent in emergency situations, like Max is when she steals Billy's car and plays a pivotal role in the fight against the Mind Flayer. Like you and Max, ESTPs are uniquely able to think on their feet. Because ESTPs are so focused on the present, they are able to be bold and adventurous, but they can also struggle with thinking ahead and following through. In relationships, ESTPs are self-assured, but may have difficulty connecting on a deeper emotional level, as we see in Max's struggles to share with Lucas and her friends what is really going on with her. As an INFP, you are Will, a sensitive dreamer who is often lost in his own thoughts and imagination. Deeply imaginative and creative, INFPs often dream of different worlds and possibilities, as we saw from Will from the very beginning, in his commitment to cosplay and D&D with friends, to being open enough to be taken to a different dimension in the first season. Like Will, INFPs are highly sensitive, sympathetic, gentle, and encouraging to their friends and loved ones. Will's sweet bond with his mother Joyce and his ability to find a way to communicate with her from another dimension is an example of how attuned INFPs can be to others. If you are calm, emotionally contained and tough, you are Hawkins Chief of Police Jim Hopper, a classic ISTJ. ISTJs are reserved and private, often keeping their thoughts and feelings to themselves, as we see with Hopper's painful denial over his lost daughter Sarah. Practical and realistic, You tend to be focused on the present and the concrete details of situations, making you, like Hopper, an excellent player in a crisis, which in Stranger Things comes in handy. ISTJs appreciate the value of teamwork but can be stubborn and struggle with change, as we see often with Hopper being dug in on his plans, ideas, and in his arguments with Joyce. As we see in Hopper's relationship with 11 ISTJs. As parents are firm in their expectations, they rarely dote on their children but provide stability, structure, and the practical necessities of life. And if you're interested in Hopper and Joyce's chances at lasting love, you should know that ISTJs are incredibly loyal and reliable, and they keep their promises and expect others to do the same, hence Hopper's sadness over Joyce seeming to forget about him in the USSR. Notably, however, Joyce Byers' type, ISFJ, is one of the most compatible personality types to Hopper's ISTJ. You are welcome for that, by the way. As an ISFJ, you are Joyce Byers, the introverted, slightly daffy and fiercely doting mom of Jonathan and Will. Practical, compassionate, and caring, ISFJs will go to any length to protect their loved ones from the perils of life, just as Joyce does in investigating Will's disappearance into another dimension and crash landing into Russia to save Hopper. ISFJs tend to shun the spotlight, preferring to focus on others as hard-working, loyal caretakers. Even before the portal to another dimension opened in Hawkins, we see Joyce's fierce commitment to her children in her struggle to make ends meet as a single mom. ISFJ parents can be overprotective in shielding their children from the dangers of life and may blame themselves. As noted above, Joyce's type is highly romantically compatible with Hopper's calm, reliable, gruff ISTJ personality. Again, you are welcome. As an INTJ, you are Nancy Wheeler, organized, ambitious, analytical, and strategic, and kind of a badass. INTJs are comfortable with reason and problem solving, and aspiring journalist Nancy applies those same traits to her hunt for her friend Barb, who had been lost to the Upside Down. Though INTJs tend to be more reserved, they are highly curious about the world around them and come to life in an environment of intellectual challenge and discussion, as we see Nancy doing as she unravels the mystery at the heart of Hawkins, starting from the Creel murders in the 1950s. That INTJ curiosity can make you absolutely fearless, as we see with Nancy as she investigates Chrissy's murder, takes on rats, and even Vecna himself. Self-assured, perfectionistic, and intellectual, INTJs can sometimes select partners in a scientific way, which we can see with Nancy as she struggles with her feelings for Steve, who in no way checks any of her life partner boxes, and moves on to Jonathan, who may be a better fit. The partners of INTJs can find them cool customers and hard to read, as we see with both Steve and Jonathan's reactions to Nancy. As an ESFP, you are Steve Harrington, extroverted, sociable, and charismatic. Like Steve, you dominate any scene you're in. ESFPs like you enjoy being around others and are often the life of the party. Chances are you also have pretty great hair. People just like you despite themselves, as we see with Nancy Wheeler being sucked into Steve's orbit. ESFPs look on the bright side and do their best to live life to the fullest, which is pretty magnetic for those around you. As a sensing ESFP type, you are tuned into pleasing colors and textures, and your outward appearance reflects that. You tend to be a bold, on-trend, and exciting dresser, and whether it's sailor hats, sunglasses, or members-only jackets, Steve rocks them. Though outwardly Steve has a good time boy persona, ESFPs can be easily bored, avoid conflict, and struggle with long-term planning, as Steve does with his directionless post-graduation ice cream shop career. Despite Steve's party vibes, as a sensing type, ESFPs like him are observant and pay attention to the immediate environment and the needs of others, as he does with his BFF, Robin. You are actually motivated by care and compassion, as we see with Steve's support of Robin and his selflessness when it comes to Nancy. As an ESTJ, you are the impressive Erica Sinclair, Lucas's practical, decisive, and efficient little sister. ESTJs are energized by working with others, and are disciplined, decisive, and practical, as we saw when Erica calmly agrees to climb through the Starcourt Mall's vents in exchange for free ice cream for life. ESTJs are straightforward and clear communicators, but can tend to come off as a little judgmental and even domineering, as they can believe their logical attitudes are superior to others. They are direct and honest communicators, but they can sometimes appear harsh and become impatient with others' emotions. No one would ever accuse an ESTJ of shirking their duty, and you have an extraordinarily high level of integrity in your work and personal relationships. Like Erica, you are eager to take responsibility and deliver a job well done. ISFPs like you and Jonathan Byers are introverted, sensitive, artistic, and observant problem solvers who see possibilities others miss. ISFPs seldom overlook any details, and that, combined with an artistic streak and deep love for beauty and nature, make Jonathan a naturally skilled photographer. Though ISFPs tend to be bold and spontaneous, seeking new experiences and ways to help others, they tend to become bored easily and can struggle with decision-making and planning for the future. They are happy to buck the system and go against the tide to live their authentic lives, as in Jonathan's case with his art. In relationships, they may have difficulty asserting themselves and want to be cooperative and accommodate others. Tellingly, Jonathan is unable to tell Nancy that he can't afford to go to Emerson College with her. As an INFJ, you are Argyle. This may be a controversial take, but stoner philosopher pizza delivery dude Argyle is giving INFJ. Without a friend of his own, when Jonathan shows up at his Lenore, California pizza shop, Argyle forms a deep friendship with him, a trait of INFJs whose introverted nature compels them to go deep, but not wide with a very few select friends. INFJs, the rarest personality type, are energized by time alone and have a deep interest in understanding ideas and concepts, as we see in Argyle with his philosophical musings. Like Argyle, INFJs are often mysterious, red, quirky as hell to others. But for those who get closer, the INFJ, known as the counselor, is a true friend who has a unique ability to intuit others' emotions and motivations. Like you, Argyle seems to nail the deeper truths about what is really going on with the world and his friends. Finally, INFJs are deeply idealistic and believe the world can be a better place, and they concentrate on doing their best to help it get there. In Argyle's case, that is helping his friends defeat a superbad dude, so that we can all get back to 420 and some pineapple pizza. So there you have it, all the personality types of Stranger Things. We hope it distracted you from waiting for the premiere.